former midday TV show that me and Mrs. M used to do. And apologies for the late arrival of this service today. I don't know what time it is. It's way after the midday siren. It's been a busy morning. It's not a beautiful view, although there is a little bit of foliage and some blue sky by way of consolation. And today I wanted to do a midday-ish moment. And the reason I'm late is because I was having a great conversation, among many other things this morning. It's been busy doing all sorts. I had a great conversation with Aviva, who's just started or is launching a support group for expats, immigrants, foreigners arriving in Portugal called New Beginnings, and that'll be June the 12th online. And I think it's going to be a great service to people. More about that in a video that you can see on this channel. And before that, I spoke to Claire McGonigal in central Portugal, who was talking about health and well-being, vitality, and challenging some of the ideas around women's health, mammograms and smear tests and so on. And we had a very interesting and upbeat conversation about that. The conversation I had after that with one of the Gumper community was great as well, and she was asking me what I was up to. And that's what I want to talk about this afternoon, as it turns out. And have a moment. I mean, maybe we should start there. I can feel the warmth of my mug of tea in my hand. I can feel the weight of my body on the chair. And just that whole process of tuning into my senses and being more aware of being here now allows me to be here now more, if you like. And just having a little bit of a moment of relaxation as some of us do at this time of day. And please feel free to join me in being as aware of what I'm saying as much as you're aware of wanting to listen and hear something meaningful, possibly because you're a subscriber to Good Morning Portugal. How about being a subscriber to your own senses and the information that's coming in to your senses right now? And this is a bit of a shout out today. I think things are changing, and whilst I've always been interested in, well, what can you call it, the spirituality, the new agey thing, so many of these things are put downs, aren't they, and insults, but it's in line as well with my gladding approach. And I don't know if you know about that. Hi Olgitachi, and good morning from BC. Hi, good to see you. What is the time in your country? It is I don't know, about midday at the moment. Surely there are other devices available. Oh no, I see you're asking the time in this country. You're not asking me what the time is. Okay, so gladding. It started with aging and dying. That became ladding, living, aging and dying. And now I'm introducing gladding, growing, living, aging and dying. And it's within the niche of expats and immigrants and foreigners moving to Portugal. But of course, it's every human being's possibility to be concerned with the realization of one's full potential. And I am, Good Morning Portugal. That is our community. And I'm especially interested in the conversation that us foreigners moving to this beautiful country might have about not just being here, taking advantage of a more cost-effective and better value for money way of life, but using this environment in which you've maybe have created some peace and a better chance for yourself to be less caught up in living and actually more connected to life itself. I mean, surely that's what's possible when you move to Portugal. And I know it's not everybody's cup of tea or concern, talking of which. But for those who have ears to hear, as it were, for those who are interested in what I think is emerging, we are living in these turbulent times. And on the one hand, you could see it as the repetition of history, the rhythm of history, as in the peaks and troughs and the ups and downs of human existence. Now, whilst that might be a trajectory going from here to here or here to here, it might also be spiraling up. We might be involved in not just a historical but also an evolutionary moment for humanity, where perhaps it's no accident that the institutions people look to or have looked to or have trusted for many decades, for an entire generation, 2 or 3 generations, the institutions of government and the people who are supposed to take care of health and education and politics were more or less trusted to get on with that. And people were quite unquestioning about. I mean, there were questions, of course, and there were preferences and tastes, and there were political battles, and there were different ideas. But I'd put it to you that not as much now as there is now. So not only more a greater sense of indifference, apathy, and anger and frustration, but also a wider range of those expressions of not being entirely happy with the status quo. And on the level of how those are peaks and troughs and ups and downs of human history, that's one thing. But perhaps they're also falling apart. And the meanings we've made and the ideas we have and the ideologies we have are not only falling apart, but they're falling apart for a reason. The reason is because they're not fit for purpose anymore, which presupposes, for me, that there's an opening for something else to come in. Just see what's going on the comments here. This is very interesting. Doing live streaming now, I do tend to get more strangers tuning in. Where are you from, brother? I'm from the UK and I'm now living in Portugal, and I'm talking about worldwide transformation and change, or the possibility thereof. Since 2020, something profound has happened. It was always my aim to move to Portugal for an easier, more peaceful life. And not only have I changed, but I think something is changing in the grander scheme of things as well, for humanity, for people. And there is obviously a particular frame we're looking through here in Western Europe, and the idea of Western civilization. That would be a good idea. Was it Gandhi who said that? But there are things to treasure from our culture, and many things that seem to be breaking down in our culture at the moment. And we can bitterly and anxiously hold on to the past and history, which seems to be the political approach of where we were once great, we might be great again, making America great again, and the some of the values of people who are looking backwards in the United Kingdom. They're my main frames of reference, and there's a sense of it in Portugal as well. That things were better and things are getting worse, and that's always the case on one level. Progress does make many things worse, and at the same time, some things are better, our prospects are better, our possibilities are better, and it's up to us to live into those. And I was just testing the water really with Good Morning Portugal and our community here, is to see who's come for that, who's here for that, because it's not something you would generally see on a CV or something you would tell Ima in your letter of application, or when you're on your profile of social media. I'm here to grow and transform and realize the greatness of my human potential. That has always been of interest to me personally, and I must say, in this recent time, it seems to be it's a more okay thing to say and to share. There seem to be more people. So maybe there are always that people interested in that, but they never felt comfortable talking about it. And now, in the absence of the structures and the stranglehold, you might say, of a certain bandwidth of experience and existence, whilst things are falling apart and opening up, people feel more able to say, well, that didn't work, or this isn't working, and this is what might work, and I'm interested in something that might work. And if that is the case, it might also be the time for people to be more specific and own things and move away from the ideology or the ideological thing of like, this is what should happen, or those people should do that, and more into an era of responsibility, as in, I believe this and I'm going to make it so. here in my new life in Portugal. It's like we are the ones we've been waiting for in our own lives and society. And I know we're creating a kind of niche within the society here in our new country of choice, but that doesn't mean it needn't be a contribution to the rest of society as well. Time will tell on that. But I think it's fair to say, and who would disagree, that it's a time of opportunity, and it's an opening, and all those philosophical, ideological things that we've had dear and held true, now might be the time for them to turn from a hobby or a pastime or a private esoteric interest into actually putting those things into practice. Otherwise, what's the point? Well, the point is, it's always nice to have hobbies and interests and pastimes and things that you discuss politely, if appropriate, at a dinner party. But I put it to you that now is the time for such matters, if things are really important, if you believe something, it's important to live it rather than just to talk about it whilst running on the predictable tracks of what we've inherited. Because all of that, as I see it, as I understand it, and the evidence I see with my own senses, which we can come back to now, being in the senses, sat here on a chair, not lost in the world of ideas and ideology, imprisoned in our heads and brains, but embodied, feeling what's going on for us, sensing what's going on in the world and responding to it in that embodied way, and embodying our values and living according to our values as an expression of our embodied and actual reality as we operate in the world. We begin to live the possibility of who we believe we are, and it becomes real. It's not something that is a matter of debate. It's not something that's a matter of clashing ideology. It's something that we are putting into practice in our lives. So who's up for that? Who's here for that? Particularly you Portuguese, you people who've chosen Portugal to live in as their new country. And just to finish today, for this moment, to come into the body, feel the weight of the body on the chair, the breeze on the skin, pressure of the clothes on the skin, and just be aware of your breathing. Notice it. Notice what's going on around you. Notice what's going on in you and on you. This is reality, is it not? This is the fact check. What is the fact of your reality right now as you sit in the chair? Are there feelings or movements within you? Is there a sense of anxiety? Is there a sense of peace? And I think in the examination of our actual fact-checked reality of where we are right now, we can learn a lot. And it's an honest appraisal of where we are and what might be available to us, what might be blocking us, what might be forming our reality in a way that is comfortable and habitual, but not necessarily functional or dynamic and healthy and joyous and full of all the true and full experience glory of who we truly are. So shout out then to you transformers, you healers, you growers and showers, the people who have not only come to create themselves a more conducive backdrop and context for being, but are then growing in that beautiful soil, the new soil of your new life. How might you bloom and blossom and grow? Answers in the comments, please. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. I've at least hypnotized myself into a greater sense of well-being and joy. I suppose it's just about opening up, isn't it, and being vulnerable and just getting things off your chest and speaking as you see it. So feel free to come back at me, bro, with speaking as you see it from your best possible articulation. And see you soon. Speak to you in due course, and perhaps we'll have a beautiful view for you to look at. You are owed a better view, and I'll see what I can do about that on Monday. So all the best to you. Take great. What I was going to say, take care, take risks, have fun, and bon fin de semana to you. Bye bye.